Welcome to our pre-March live event, and I am so thankful to have you all here. So what brought you here today is the opportunity to learn about the benefits of joining our nutritional program through a 10-day jumpstart, eliminating those habits and our lifestyle that we really want to do without. Yay! Glad you're here. So I'm talking about the negative self-talk, the inflammatory food choices, and all of those other choices that are blocking our ability to feel well. So let's talk about how we can use this little 10-day nudge to remember that we matter, to get some of those muscle memories working again, and to encourage each other for some amazing changes. So how easy is it to make some simple changes to our lifestyle, and why is that important? Okay, so let me share that. Before we go further, let me introduce you to this group of ours. This group is run by a team of wellness enthusiasts and foodies, and the team is called the Nourished Warriors. So we're a group of like-minded individuals that, just like you, want the most out of our life. We are from all over the globe, so I don't want you to feel like you have to live down the block from one of us to get involved. Also, you don't have to be ready to make big dietary changes. You don't have to be going out and getting your DNA results. You don't have to be a wellness or a fitness professional, although there are some of those in our group. It also doesn't matter if you are a mom or not, or a massage therapist, or a personal trainer, or any other title that you can throw in there, because we're all here and we're a team full of people that just strive to live what we call life to the plus, which is part of what we also call a healthy living revolution. It's not about diet. For us, it's not. It's about healthy living. We want to have quality of life. We want to have active energy, and we want to have annual healthy visits that have very little intervention required in between, because that's what allows us to take on the things that are very important to us. So this healthy living revolution is kind of a movement, and it's inspiring so many people out there to get out there and take their health back. And so this can happen through just simple differences and resources that help us take those first steps and then go beyond it. And so I like to think of it like a rebirth. Like we are, here we're your midwife or doula, and you don't need an epidural. That's how simple it is. Healthy living really did used to be easy. I remember picking food out of the garden and drinking from the water hose and then playing outside until the sun went down and going in to go to bed. Sometimes I would lay underneath a tree and read a book all afternoon. It was definitely just a different lifestyle. So somewhere along the line, living this healthy lifestyle became really complicated. And so that is why we're on a mission to take healthy back. We really want something better, something healthier, and something greener for this next generation. So I know how hard all of you work these days, right? Yep, exactly what you're saying. So people put wellness on the back burner until it's just too late, or it feels too late. And so this massive movement of people are these folks that we kind of found out that through some encouragement and a little education and a simple way to flood our body with the micronutrients of 45 fruits and vegetables and berries every day will actually help you see a difference. And then we found out if you add this simple little jumpstart program in for 10 days every month, It helps you to shred those unhealthy habits that are not serving us and establish new ones month over month. It's this simple mind over matter and nutrition over extremism that jumpstarts us to make more simple changes later. I like to think of it as an introduction into healthy living for dummies. Here's the book. There is a book. So many of the people out there, they make you count points or calories and the macros. So do not get me started on the macros. And the containers. I think I just heard my husband sneeze. Bless you, bless you. I just found that all of those programs are just hard. You know, I don't want to figure out if I'm getting 80% fat in my diet. I don't want to sit down and plan to make sure I get 4 red containers or plug in everything I eat to make sure I don't go over 27 points. This is fun. It's effective, and it's very simple and doable. There's no counting, and if you feel that you haven't eaten enough, well, you can grab some more vegetables and eat a little more. There's a guide to help you, but it's not meant necessarily to define you. So if you are going to join a weight loss meeting program, it will cost you about $55 a month with the coaching. But the research also shows that it's actually going to cost you about $160 a week for the food, plus the supplementation. So this program actually reduces your food cost, even though it costs over that $55 a month. In the long run, it costs you less. And then you have this online group where, just like that program, you're getting encouragement and support and coaching from people that have been exactly where you are. Plus, you're getting all the nutrients that are generally sold on top of all of these types of programs, because you still need some sort of a multivitamin if you're on one of those programs. We don't do multivitamin. We do micronutrients. We do real food. I just read that one program is targeting teens as young as 13 with a free plan. And while I understand that, by watching kids that are waiting for the school bus when I'm driving by, guess what? With your personal order of these encapsulated foods, you also get a free order through our health study program, which I think is even a better nutritional approach for a child, because it makes a bigger impact on your child than body shaming them. This way you can leave behind the weekly weigh-ins and jump in each month for a simple 10 days where you shred the food cravings and then lean into this lifetime nutritional program that just focuses on clean living and flooding your body with whole food nutrition. This is a very simple program, you guys, and it even changes your genetic expression. And I'll explain more of that later, but I just want you to know that the 10-day Jumpstart is the beginning of a 4-month period of education and healthy changes that will revolutionize your health for years to come. And you will never regret having started this program. So, who am I? Well, just in case you're wondering, I am the creator of the Paleo Veggie lifestyle. And if you ask my family, they'll tell you I'm a fun homeschooling mom. I am also an educated nutrition coach, a business and life coach, a certified personal trainer and certified aromatherapist, and I am an energy healer. So a little of that may seem kind of woo-woo, but that's okay with me because I believe that my calling in life is creating this world of greater vibrations. And I can do that through being an ingredient guru and then also sharing with you the possibility of elevated consciousness. Now, I've found over the last several decades that if we don't find our nutritional truth and align that to our being, we're more likely to be disconnected in all areas of our life. It stops us from listening and being aware. And that's because knowledge is power. And that knowledge is energy. And that knowledge led me to invite my friends into this Nourished Warrior tribe. And so it makes me excited that you're listening because that means that someone thought highly enough to encourage you to join us, or that you thought, hey, this is a tribe that I feel connected to. So my journey actually started more because of my daughter that you can see here than because of myself. Although since living in my allergy bubble from age 11, I actually really needed it. So who knew? Don't you parents find that it's our kids that make us better? Yeah, and often it's our families, maybe even our grandparents. So we look outward instead of inward, and it's what seems to spark the best changes in our lives. But I want you to never forget that you need to put that oxygen mask on yourself first, and that you can't be the one to drive your family and friends to a better quality life if you're not listening to what you need as well. And I get that. I am so grateful that because of my daughter that I took this leap of faith. Yeah, she's a cutie. So when she was conceived, I had just miscarried 2 months prior, and we moved into a new house and a new community the same month that I conceived her. And so there's all these toxins we're now finding that come along with that. I was really depressed after my miscarriage, and I had turned to junk food to console myself. And then we moved, and that trend continued through the pregnancy. And so I had many, many months of blues afterwards. Now, when my daughter was almost 2, there was this huge wake-up call. First, I saw a photo of myself from a family vacation and almost croaked at what I looked like. Apparently, napping and drive-thrus do not create the mom that I wanted to be. Second, my daughter, who had acid reflux from birth, had her first major croup infection. So when she was 2, I started converting my daughter to organic. Everything had to be organic. Up until then, I might let a little something slide here or there. But by the time she was 2, we were doing strictly organics. And then by the time she was 4, I was vegan. Now, we moved to the Pacific Northwest because even despite all of that, my daughter had been on inhaled steroids for years. And that was scary because that mirrored how I had been on inhaled steroids when she was pregnant. So that's a lot of time for that little body to be on steroids. She was not growing, and I felt horrible. So when we moved to Seattle, my diet kind of flip-flopped from vegan to vegetarian, off and on. And then I went to a Robin Openshaw event and took my daughter off dairy the next day. In 5 weeks, she was off all of her daily inhaled steroids. Now, she still had croup about 5 or 6 times a year, though. So I kept thinking I was doing everything right. So why isn't she growing? Why is she still having croup all the time? And a friend invited me to listen to an ND that had come in to talk about children's nutrition from California. Now, when I first got there, I may have felt like I was being scammed. You know what I'm talking about. But I am so thankful that I went that night and that I decided to try this for my daughter and then try it for me. So the changes in both of us were really amazing. She started growing, started having croup for just a few days a year instead of several weeks a year. And one day I was driving down the road and I suddenly noticed that I felt happy. And then I thought, wow, I have less anxiety. And that is when I was finally ready to start tackling the rest of my wellness story, because I knew there was still a lot left to figure out. So I'm not going to tell you that it's perfect, and it hasn't been a straight line, because that is not how life works. But there are ebbs and flows, and that's part of figuring out the puzzles. But it has been amazing, and it's given me the chance to choose something I never thought was available for my future. So like me, many of you have spouses or partners, kids, a business, carpools, but most of us really have nutrition that isn't what it should be. We pin these meals and then we don't make them, and we grab meals through the drive-thru because life is busy. We love our pastries and our cupcakes and our bread. I think most of us have a wee bit too much caffeine in our daily diets, or too many chemicals. And I have seen firsthand that we are beyond addicted to sugar in so many ways. This is how we choose to care for ourselves. So there are bits of our lifestyle that need to be tweaked if we really want to get healthier. Healthy living is about getting back to the basics. Everyone needs the nutritional foundation that comes from eating a diet rich in a variety of fruits, vegetables, and berries. There are so many fad diets out there, of course, says the creator of the Paleo-Veggie diet. But my platform has always been that I am teaching people to find the nutrition that works for them. Yep, and especially here in the U.S., I truly believe that gluten and dairy are not what we are meant to be eating. I also know that 99% of us rarely eat enough of the 7 to 13 servings, or 16 servings if you're active, of vegetables a day. And that's not even including the servings of fruit. And if you're active, you have got a high oxidative rate, that you need those antioxidants more than anyone else. Unfortunately, many people can't or won't eat the recommended servings every day. Sometimes it doesn't work. My daughter has oral allergy syndrome, and so she won't eat raw vegetables. Or some of the cooked vegetables are not her thing. She just doesn't like the texture. Does that sound familiar to any of you? Picky kids? Now, my husband also gets intense pain from eating raw vegetables and hates the best ones. So, yeah, he can do the digestive enzymes. They help a little bit. Not enough to make him eat them. He also can't stand kale or squash or sweet potatoes. So, yeah, he misses out on all the most amazing nutrition because he relies on eating only these few specific sources of food. which is what most people do. Even if you go talk to your healthiest vegan friend, they probably eat the same foods over and over again. Now, on top of that, real food seems more expensive, but in reality, it's not. So yeah, you can go get a jug of organic cold pressed juice at the store, and it's going to be over $10. But if you go get a handful of organic fruit, it can be under $5. So we're often buying into a mass marketing machine of boxes and convenience when we could choose the possibility of not being open, or the possibility of better quality food. It's our choice. We don't have to listen to what people are trying to sell us. What if micronutrients were the facilitators to our body's processes? What if what you eat is really energy for either all of the great things that you want or all of the awful things you fear? What happens when you eat all of these lower vibration foods? And what possibilities happen when you make this change to high vibrational foods? I recommend learning about how much these differences make to our wellness, and then make this simple change. Years ago, I created the 7 Principles of Nutrition, and it started with what I call perfect nutrition. If you're just listening to that, you're like, what? But it doesn't mean what you think. Perfect nutrition is what is perfect for you. No chemicals, no allergens, no crap. It is food that makes you feel truly good and what makes your body happy. It also has to work with our body's hormones, or correct the lack of the body's hormones due to any dysfunctions we might have. Now, I can tell you, no matter what you think is good or wrong with your body, high carbs, high sugars, high chemicals, high stress, and highly processed foods and supplements do the exact opposite of that to our hormones. The glycemic index is this ranking system that shows how quickly your blood sugar rises after eating. And so I found that a low GI diet, and especially this low GI shake that I drink, really helped my blood sugar levels to rise slowly like it was meant to be. Now, when we don't eat that way, we start having cholesterol issues, cortisol issues, and even insulin resistance. So making that change can reduce a number of issues many of us face. Insulin is a hormone that helps the body use energy from food. And lots of us are resistant to the effects of the insulin pathways nowadays because of the way that we have eaten our entire lives. So we have more insulin in our bloodstream to compensate for our eating habits. Insulin also increases testosterone levels. And although testosterone is often thought as a male hormone, all women need a small amount, but not a large amount. Having even slightly higher amounts of testosterone in our systems can upset the balance of hormones in the body, and for women that can lead to acne and excessive hair growth in areas we really don't want to grow hair, and even irregular periods. Hormones like estrogen and progesterone are also designed to balance each other out. They like to keep each other in check, like Buffy and Angel. And if you haven't got any idea who the Vampire Slayer is, maybe like Grace and Frankie. There's my new favorite Netflix original show, in case you're wondering. Now, it's almost impossible to just separate those actions. Think of estrogen as the thing that makes everything grow. It causes cells to proliferate. Progesterone checks this growth, holding cell growth to a limit. Progesterone is also what gives us that calming ability in the evening. Now, I was low in that for a number of years, which made it really hard to get to sleep. And sleep is the most important factor we're finding for our overall health outside of these micronutrients. And also having this out of balance hormones does not create a great space when you're trying to conceive. And yes, fair warning that fertility seems to be a benefit if you look at the number of surprise babies that my customers and teammates have had since starting this program. But it will also help those that are aging. Are any of you aging? If you're not aging, then you're here and you're dead, or you've found the secret that you need to share with me. But it will help prevent bone destruction and protect from hypertension by relaxing the lining of the blood vessels. It stimulates an enzyme called lipoprotein lipase that breaks down fat. How does that sound? And it lowers insulin levels and gives us healthy support for our heart. I think we all need a little of that. Kick out the clutter. We buy boxes and boxes of items because they are new and exciting. And then how often do you regret it? I do this even now when some fancy gluten-free or grain-free item shows up on the shelves. Most of the time, it ends up not being worth it. I cannot tell you how many times I have tried different, like buckwheat noodles, and always found that I hate them. And yet I still keep buying them. Real food doesn't build up your pantry. Your pantry should be a cooking support system. Herbs and spices with a few gluten-free baking supplies for when needed. But instead, we're filling them up with processed foods. I think the food pantry really loves me. But my checkbook says think twice now, because we don't need to eat what we think we will. We now really try to grab real foods 9.5 times out of 10 with my family. Now, why do we stock up? People stock up because we want to be prepared, and that's understandable. But how about if instead of preparing, we prepare for success and create a food storage program that actually works for us? Because I can tell you, in case of an emergency, you aren't going to take your food shelves with you. However, I can grab my capsules and gummies, my shakes, and my water filter and head out the door lickety-split if I need to. And in real life, prep once for a week for fresh fruits to grab out of the fridge and for items you can grab on the way out the door. Choose items you can make in a flash that are really healthy. A lot of the members in our team do what they call a salad in a jar event with friends, because it's really awesome to have a week's worth of salad all ready to go for Monday through Friday. And it's really awesome to spend time with friends. So they get together, everyone brings something for the salad except for the lettuce and the dressing, and you just pile it into your mason jars. And then when you're ready to go in the morning or to run errands, you just can grab your mason jar and grab your lettuce, grab a shaker cup or a shake, or even some pre-made chia pudding, and you've got everything you need to toss in a bag and go, and you can eat it anywhere. Get enough. We focus on calories so much, but calories versus hydration, that's a big difference in how your body works. I focus in on micronutrients, not calories, and I focus in on hydration, not necessarily water. I rarely see a new customer that hydrates enough. And so some of the tricks you can use is adding fruit to your water, drinking it warm but not overly hot. I like to add a little turmeric and ginger to my warm water, which really helps fuel my day. You can also do coconut water It's very hydrating. Stay away from the sports drinks and the energy drinks. Also, I rarely see a customer that gets all of the micronutrients like polyphenols that they need. We spend too much time thinking about things in terms of fat, protein, and carbohydrates. And so that needs to change in this new world. Simple changes. This is where this mantra of the 10-day program comes from. We're making a commitment to our wellness every day during the 10-day focus and placing the value on micronutrients and not calories, and putting ourselves first, because you have to sacrifice a little and give up that latte for a few days, and then you can really start healing. So let me give you a few steps. You can't focus on what matters most when every moment is a drain on your time and your mindset. Even your checkbook. New research published in the American Journal of Managed Care estimates that on average it takes 121 minutes each time a person seeks medical care. How many times have you been to the doctor's office this winter? It takes a total of 37 minutes of travel time and 87 minutes at the doctor's office or clinic. Now, how much of that time does the patient actually spend with their doctor? Only 20 minutes. The other hour or so tends to be spent doing paperwork, communicating with non-medical office staff, and then just plain sitting there. So, how does that feel? And then your average out-of-pocket cost per medical visit is $32, and that's going up. Research found that patients encountered an even larger penalty due to what's known as opportunity cost. Now, opportunity cost is the value of work and productivity that the individual might have otherwise been engaged in had they not been spending roughly 2 hours trying to see a doctor. The estimate by the researchers was that this average opportunity cost of a medical visit comes to $43. In other words, the average trip to the doctor costs $75, 32 out of pocket, 43 in lost opportunity. And that doesn't count your insurance premiums, which are supposed to help cover your medical expenses or expenses that your medical insurance doesn't cost. And this really does impact families and those that are the caregivers, because your time adds up. Now, what is the average cost for a single trip to the nationally recognized coffee house? $3.25. If you get one 5 days a week, that's $16.25, which comes up to being $65 per month or $780 a year. And what are you getting out of that coffee? If you listen to Dave Asprey, you're getting a lot of mycotoxins, which are not really great for you. Now, if the average American household spends almost $3,000 on restaurant meals and takeout, but yet they only spend about $4,000 on groceries. How does that compare? What if you were able to reduce your eating out and reduce your grocery spending? We don't want to be the norm. We don't want finances hurting as a result of our wellness. We want it all to be working in the same flow. So let's talk again about what all that fancy food is costing you. Most food establishments charge a 300% markup on the items that they serve. So you're cheating yourself out of $2,000 every year that could be padding your emergency fund, or getting out of debt, saving for the future, or making a difference in the world. And being healthy really does change your family tree as much as it's changing your financial lifestyle. It's time to stop choosing fatigue over wellness. How many of you are doing that? The over 60 different autoimmune and metabolic disorders you may have heard of all affect the body differently. But one sign I always see is fatigue. Some common characteristics of all autoimmune diseases is that there's an outside agent required to start the process. So even with our genetics, you generally may not develop an autoimmune or metabolic disease without an environmental influence to light the fire. So what's going to spark this fire? It could be an infection. It could be certain foods like dairy or gluten products. It can be toxins. So drugs, smoking, hair dyes, chemicals in the home, neighborhood, or workplace, those sort of things. It could be what you're putting on your skin, your biggest organ, your shampoos and your lotions and your makeup. Now, most of the time, fatigue can be traced to one or more of your habits or routines. But when it comes to this point where it's just a part of your lifestyle, then it can be a sign that you need to change. People tell me all the time that they don't have fatigue. And I kind of have to blink because I listen to them every day and I know that they do. Fatigue is not just defined as tiredness or reduced energy or even physical exhaustion. Fatigue is also mental exhaustion and lack of motivation. I think everyone here knows at least one person in their circle that has a fatigue problem, or even chronic fatigue as a bigger problem. You hear people say that their adrenals are crashing, their thyroid isn't functioning, they don't want to crawl out of bed in the morning, they can't wait to have a moment of silence. Sometimes they can't wait to sit and cry. Did you know that the symptoms of chronic fatigue are fatigue, extreme exhaustion, post-exertion? It's not just being tired all the time. It's being tired because you did something. You exerted yourself and then you were exhausted from it. Loss of memory, of concentration. It can also be a sore throat, unexplained muscle pain, headaches of a new type or a new pattern or severity, unrefreshed sleep. How many of you are saying check, check, check to those symptoms? So a new research study uncovered these changes, hinting that the composition of the gut could be skewing our body's metabolism, or how our bodies are converting food into energy. And it was in research that they were doing for chronic fatigue syndrome. And so this simple change is this subtle shift in the body's source of energy production, going from the sugars to amino acids. And amino acids are the beads that make up protein. And while an increase of bacteria that are better at fermenting amino acids to short-chain fatty acids may seem like, well, that's a good thing, they think that it's a causative relationship. An overabundance of short-chain fatty acids over amino acids leads to a lessened ability for us to create digestive enzymes and mucins, which stabilize our gut. So it is exactly that short-chain fatty acid that people are creating when they eat a keto diet. And so we don't know yet what these dietary changes are doing to our bodies or our genetics, our epigenetics long term, because it comes down to more of a personal experience from person to person. And they usually can't connect the dots to what happened or where something changed. And also, it's not a one-size-fits-all in diets. But I know we all need nutrients. So you also may not know that proteins also get converted over to these short-chain fatty acids, which is why there's such a low protein when you're eating ketosis. So is it your gut that's making you feel tired? They say that 10 to 15% of adult energy may be generated from short-chain fatty acid production or stored as fat in the average person. If you're not average, what is happening to those dealing with this? What is happening to those dealing with fatigue and or autoimmune or metabolic disorders? What if a difference in our gut is what matters over something else? How do you change your gut when you have a disorder of mitochondrial metabolism and a problem with the functioning or overabundance of bad characters in our gut colonies? You know, kind of like Australia in the beginning. I'm just kidding, my Australian friends. I have some very good friends that live down there. Yes, I do. Love you, Jackie. Consider that microbes create these metabolites we're talking about. And they do that as simply as eating your intestinal mucosal lining or non-digested proteins, as well as indigestible fiber that's found in cereal grains, onions, even like canned foods when it leaches out into the water. They also eat starches found in those same cereal grains, potatoes, plant seeds, and tubers. And although many of these are exactly what your gut needs and what we're being told, if it can't digest it, then there are a lot of things that can go wrong and a lot of dirty microbes waiting to mess us up. I have always called my capsules and shakes an almost pre-digested food. Good water. It allows the body, with just a little water, to reconstitute real food with active bioavailable nutrients and use that to improve the status of our various systems, such as the immune system and the DNA repair mechanisms. Now, this is something I know is true, not only because of personal use, but because of more than a dozen independent studies done on exactly these things. Yep, so when they use their proprietary process to convert the whole food, like a whole orange, including the peel, into a powder, this process, just the sugars simply bind to the more complex carbohydrates, and the food retains the benefits of the fruits, vegetables, and berries in a way that we cannot do on our own just eating these foods. Now, I wonder if maybe this is similar to the human studies that I'm seeing, where they are finding that non-absorbable sugar metabolized by microbiota can produce high amounts of acetate. And acetate is a metabolite that can lower all of these damaging effects we see in our body. I'm actually seeing a lot of amazing new trials using synthetic acetate supplementation. I prefer the real thing, as I'm sure do you, because it's one of the 5 metabolites significantly decreased in chronic fatigue and other autoimmune disorders. Now, since 1 in 5 people suffer from autoimmune diseases, I can see why there's a big reason for them working to try to figure this out. Another thing that really turned me on at our last spring conference was another randomized controlled trial that was done in Australia using these encapsulated fruit and vegetable concentrates. They paired a group eating these with a placebo group. Now, both groups were individuals that were obese and who seemed to have the most metabolic and functional issues. So what do you think they saw after just 8 weeks? Well, what they saw was an increase in nutrient levels, yay, as well as a decrease in total cholesterol and LDL in the fruit and veggie group. They also found that the total lean mass increased in the fruit and veggie group, which means yay, more muscle, more bone density. And they saw that the systolic blood pressure was decreased in the fruit and veggie group too. All of the biggest changes they hoped to see were there. And then they were blown away. In the group with the high baseline inflammation markers, microarray analysis found that 1,632 genes were differentially expressed after supplementing with the fruit and vegetable concentrate for just 8 weeks, including some majorly biologically relevant signaling pathways like the insulin signaling pathways. What they concluded was that those obese individuals who typically have the lower than we need fruit and vegetable intake, taking this supplementation alone can be beneficial for improving the metabolic profile and reduce the risk of developing chronic inflammatory diseases. Chronic fatigue and many of these other diseases I've talked about are clearly an inflammatory disease that is gut-based. So this is what makes me so excited to share with you today, because the 10 days is only going to be the beginning of you taking healthy back and opening up to the possibilities of wellness. The biggest question I get from those interested in this program is, what can I expect from a detoxifying program? People get worried because we have been taught that detox means bad things. And yes, a headache can happen when you reduce caffeine and sugar from your diet. There are 4 primary toxin removal systems that must be working in harmony with each other for a healthy detox. So these include the disposal of cellular waste products, especially lactic acid, the removal of larger waste products through your lymph system, and smaller waste products go into your veins and are exhaled or sent directly to your liver. And that's one reason why the berry capsules are so essential to this process. There's the processing of toxins by our liver, most of which then go into bile and then into our digestive tract for final clearance. Some of these water-soluble toxins go off into the kidneys to be excreted into urine. And then the final clearance of waste products by our digestive tract. Now, these 4 systems tend to flow from one to another, and any glitch in one of these major systems of detoxification will backtrash up in your body and cause problems. So if a system is not working, you may find that you have increased acne, you may have increased acid reflux, some gallbladder type pains. But this is what will lead you to understand if you have some stagnating liver problems, or as well maybe some lymphatic problems. So I try to have people remember to drink some water or some lemon water in the morning, drink some detox tea at night, make sure they're moving. You can do skin, the skin brushing, things to get these systems working. Also consider that your lymphatic system works directly with your cardiovascular system and helps flush these toxins out of the body. It carries immune cells throughout the body to help defend against infections. But guess what? Your lymphatic system isn't lucky enough to have a powerful organ like the heart to keep fluid flowing. This lymph system is stimulated by gravity, muscle contraction, hydrotherapy, breathing, lymph drainage therapy, and massage. So this is why we consider daily movement to be such an important part of being holistically healthy. Even if you have one of those chronic fatigue issues, walking and working out is actually essential. So I can share with you, if you take on this challenge, some great exercises that are specifically for someone with this sort of fatigue or someone that has movement issues. So I want you to understand this, because this is why we aren't just focused on restricting calories. Instead, we're focused on getting enough water, getting moving, and getting enough micronutrients flooding into our body. And you could go eat McDonald's for 10 days straight, but research has proven that if you do, it's going to wreak havoc on the healthy bacteria in your body that makes up your microbiome. So what can this program offer your gut? Well, a new study published in Nature indicates that microbiome changes can happen actually incredibly fast in the human gut. Within up to like 4 days, you can start already having a big shift based on what you're eating. Now, we know that the rest of the gut healing does take much longer, but why 10 days to get you started? We found that 10 days is long enough for you to get some real results and short enough to stay disciplined for success. By filling your body with essential nutrients, you will be getting this jump start to reach the next health goal. And so you'll also, during this 10-day period, you'll shred these unhealthy habits and focus in on clean living. And by flooding your body with whole food nutrients, it's going to be kind of like a little reset to your system. It's not something that heals your entire system overnight, but it does get you on the right track. And then you have the rest of the next 4 months to work with us on fine-tuning your system and find out what your body really was calling for. I feel like that's essential. It's not rocket science. That's what I like about this program. If you're here, you are trying to be healthier, and it's not generally easy. So I love that these simple whole food capsules bridge the gap between what I am eating and what I should be eating every day. It's also really simple and simple to understand. How often do you find you don't have enough time to plan every meal perfectly? And so that's where this affordability and this wellness comes together with the shakes. That's why I like the whole program. So adults take 2 of the fruit, vegetable, and berry capsules daily with plenty of water for rehydration of those really valuable nutrients. Children up to age 13 take just 1 fruit and berry and vegetable capsule or gummy. And then we have the complete omegas that you take every day. And if you buy an adult order, we can set one child age 4 through college up to get a free capsule or gummy order through the Health Study program. Then in this program, you replace 2 meals with the complete protein and fiber smoothie mix. It gives you the essentials that the capsules do not. And then you shift your lifestyle by allowing you to enjoy this benefit of all of these plants in a simple way. Now, of course, you're still, we're encouraging you to continue to eat fresh fruits and vegetables every day. We want you to have a balanced diet to remain fit and strong. That's where the macros do come in. You do need calories. You just don't need to count them if you're eating right. So you have your one healthy meal and your snacks that come into play, or you can do 2 healthy meals and 1 snack. It's up to you. There's no better opportunity to enjoy a long, healthy life. The 10-day program just happens to be a way to laser in on the rest of the puzzle and make nutrition simple, so then you can get moving towards the bigger puzzle. So what do you do next? You need to commit to doing the 10 days and do it at least once during the next 4 months. You don't have to do it this month, but you do have to commit to that. You need to place your order for a 4-month supply of the encapsulated food capsules that come in a group of 3, the Complete Omega capsules, and 1 to 4 boxes of the vegan shakes, depending on what level you want to get into this program with. And so the person in the group who brought you in can cover that with you. They can answer those questions. If you're watching this video at a later time, make sure that you're added to the Facebook support community. You also are going to agree to have whoever is coaching you through this message you or text you at least once per day during that 10-day program. And that's because there may be questions you don't want to ask in the group. And so we found that there's a science with this personal support that helps you reach your goal. You're going to share your journey in the group by posting and connecting daily, because you only get out of it what you put in. You're going to adopt the shred into your own life. That way you can jump in whenever you think you need a little extra. And then from us, from the support, you're also going to get a shred guide, a shred cookbook. You're going to get another cookbook when you've completed all of this, and support as you continue on this journey. You keep asking, what can I expect from 10 days? Some of you are you need to see it in black and white. I understand. But I want you to know it is different for everyone. Remember that the next 10 days is just the beginning. So you're cleansing in the best possible way, so there's no rebound as your body keeps cleansing and releasing what we're ready to be finished with naturally when you finish the program. Does that make sense? But for those that want it in black and white, here are some actual testimonials that have come out of our group. And I've seen similar changes in my very popular Vegan and Paleo Challenge group, where people take on over 30 or 60 days or more. However, I'm going to tell you that I have found that program still lacks the cleansing support after the fact. And many people do rebound when they're done because they were lacking the abundance of micronutrients. This is about giving you so much more nutritionally than you could imagine in that micronutrient area, which is what really makes the long-term changes. It doesn't stop everything. It is not a magic pill. Sometimes it will showcase what was getting masked so you can fix a problem. But I want you to be aware as you go through the program. Listen to what your body is telling you. And don't focus on the weight loss aspect of it, although the weight loss can happen. But if it happens, it will happen for the right reasons and in the right way. Weight loss is easier and quicker when there's no rebound. And I also want you to understand that you can control things with your order. It's just like if you were ordering something monthly from Amazon. You can go use the customer login, which is very simple, and change your credit card number, your address, order quicker or delay an order if you'll be out of town. And it's just at customer.juiceplus.com, and you create your account using your order email address. and then you modify your order whenever you need to. Now that doesn't happen until after you've ordered, so you need to go ahead and connect with whoever brought you this information, and then they will help you get your order initially. So you may also still be wondering, who are these nourished warriors that are in this group? We are your supporters. We are your team cheerleaders, and we're from all over the globe. Some have life experience, and some have educational experience, but the truth is we all have personal stories that are similar to yours. They really are. In the desire to be well with the support of nutrition, you are not alone. If this idea interests you, we want you to join our tribe. And I say this now only because I know that if you give this 10-day possibility the chance to change your life, you're going to want to share it. So if you do decide to share, I want you to understand that this is not a network marketing company. This is direct sales. That means you pay an annual franchise fee, and for your products you pay the same price as your customer when you are buying it retail. The difference is that as a franchise owner, you get what I call a rebate check every month off of your volume, kind of like you would get like a Costco annual kickback check. But it's different because the amount is based on a set price point for each item, not a percentage of a product. And although it is direct sales, like a franchise, you can have more revenue options when you build a team. And it's kind of like a franchise owner adding more stores to the business, where you keep earning more, but you don't have to do all of the work. Many people will do this just to help pay for their own veggie crack, as we call it. However, there are many others that want to get that national marketing director position, where you get benefits like holiday bonuses, tuition reimbursement, prescription coverage, life insurance, dental, vision, and health disability coverage. Where else can you get that possibility when opening a business for just $50? So I want you to keep that in mind. Cheers! I am so glad that you joined the open house and so excited to have those of you exploring the Shred come aboard. I know it's been a life changer for me. I'd love to have you look me up if you have any questions, and just know that everyone in this team is here for you. So why not you, and why not now? Bad habits are hard to break. Good habits are hard to form. But guess what? With this kind of program, you can do both. Thanks, everyone. I'm so glad that you took the time to show up, and let us know what you think. All right? And ask any questions you have. Alrighty, cool. I'm going to end this now, and then we'll go into the questioning section. All right? Okay.